Hello, my gorgeous Gemini friends, and welcome to our July reading for July 2021. This is a really gorgeous month, especially if you like to work with Cancerian energy and Leo energy, which I do. There's a lot of support here. There's a lot of support for connecting with our souls and connecting with our childlike heart, to connecting with a sense of safety from within, and therefore to share more of our joy and our lightness without. That's kind of the process all month long here in July. And this is a healing month as well. I think this is one of those months where we can incorporate our growth, incorporate how we've changed, and also open our hearts back up to the bigness of life again after a time when there's been a lot of messaging around shutting down and judging and shame and these themes that have been a big part of the collective energetics for the last year and a half. So this is a really useful month for that. And Gemini, I really like this time of year for you because as we move all this energy into Cancer, we have a new moon in Cancer, we have Sun in Cancer, we have Mercury moving through Cancer, right? We're working with your neighboring sign of Cancer. Such a love-filled, nurturing sign. And for you, this works in your second house of, your self-love, your value. And yes, it's tied to money and the energetics of money and the money you make and all of that, but at a deeper, more essential level, it is about self-love. It is about feeling safe within the self. It is about feeling the expansiveness that exists from within you. And so this can be a really supportive month of getting really committed to your practices around those topics and themes and to amplify them in huge ways. And of course, this month, as we move through the month, we're going to have energy moving more into Leo. Venus is moving through Leo for most of the month. Mercury will join Leo. Sun will move into Leo. We'll begin Leo season. These energies are so supportive of Gemini. They kind of amplify your ability to speak your desires, use your voice, be expressive, be flirty, be playful. So these energies are quite supportive of, I think, the good, simple things in life. That deep sense of self-love and expansiveness from within, and the fun we have when we play, we explore, we flirt, we have a lighthearted, fun, loving sense of the world, and trusting that we're allowed to choose the fun, loving, lighthearted sense of the world regularly, and that does not detract from our care, our empathy, our ability to help others in the world, our ability to make this world a better place. That's one of those strange narratives that's been kind of ingrained in so many of us, that we need to feel guilty if we approach life from a lighthearted, loving place, that somehow we are being complacent or lacking care or our heart in the world that we live in. But that is just not the case. Those people who bring calm, loving, light energy to things, with a sense of devotion and groundedness, help so much more, right? So we are allowed to access those energies. By the end of the month, we're going to have Venus and Mars in Virgo in the 4th house. So we'll talk more about that when we get to August, but you'll start to be working with some of that 4th house energy. We also have Jupiter moving back into Aquarius, back into your 9th house this month at the end of the month. And we also have a full moon in Aquarius this month, which is your 9th house as well. This is really big visioning energy. And we have a lot of outer planets retrograde. I'll just mention quickly. Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Pluto are all retrograde. Chiron will join them this month. And this is just a time to incorporate. This is a really useful time. I love outer planet retrogrades because they can help us see clearly. They can help us understand ourselves a little bit more. They can help us catch up with ourselves so we don't always feel like the growth is so exponential and overwhelming that we can't keep up. So this is a really supportive month. And the message that came through as I start to shuffle from my Animal Totem Tarot, which I really love to work with, the message that came up for Gemini with all of this in mind that I just mentioned, is that, your preferences matter. This is a really great month with all this energy in Cancer and then moving into Leo to really sit down and think about your preferences, whether that's, the temperature in the room when you like to sleep, the schedule you like to have, the way you like to communicate. 2 of Swords. I don't remember what bird that is. And I want to find out right now. Ah, Wilson's Plover. A Wilson's Plover. Very cool. Two of Swords. Yeah, all those little preferences are so important. Have fun playing with those. And also, here's the thing, sometimes we think, we just kind of assume we know what we want. Like we've been kind of wanting the same vague thing for, the last 6 months. It's like, well, yeah, I want to have, this schedule and this job. Ace of Swords. I like that transition from Two of Swords to Ace of Swords. Clarity comes sooner than we think. But sometimes we have to really sit down. The Hermit. Yes. We have to really sit down and honestly let ourselves say what we truly want. We sometimes hold ourselves back more than we realize when asking for things. We kind of demote our asking to something reasonable or something within the bounds of what's allowed to be asked for. And I think it's important to, at times, take a moment and go hog wild. And the world. Wow. Okay, I love that. This is a beautiful reading. It's a beautiful reading. To let yourself go hog wild and just write it down, say it out loud, even if it feels ridiculous. Like maybe you have a block in yourself, because we each have our things, right? We each have our stories that have developed over the years. You might have a block in yourself that says, well, that is ridiculous. If you want to say like, I want to become a world famous ballerina, right? Like maybe that sounds dumb. Like the inner critic in you is going to be like, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. You could never do that. You're too old. You're not talented. The point is not whether or not you accomplish this feat and get all the accolades at the end of the thing, right? The point is that, are you even letting yourself express your dreams? Are you even letting yourself have the fun of saying it out loud and having fun imagining it? Because, as much as we think maybe that's not important, it's huge. If we can let ourselves expand to those places, guess what? Those other places in our lives that are maybe more immediate, more in touch with like what's going to happen over the next 2 months, have so much more room to grow when we stop shoving ourselves down and feeling bad and letting the inner critic take the wheel. And the inner critic does take the wheel more often than we think, because it will shut down and crumple those fun, fanciful thoughts. And so this month, I'm just encouraging you to let yourself express those things. Write them on the page. Tell a friend about them. Say them out loud when you're walking around your apartment. However you want to express those, play with it. And then also, get really detailed with the preferences of the here and now. What do you want and what do you prefer to be happening sorry, my computer's doing something weird. What you prefer to be doing in your weekly life as well. Those small things are also huge. Okay, let's talk through this, because I love the cards here for you. We start with the Two of Swords, a card of indecision, uncertainty, maybe a pause. I often find with Two of Swords energy, this is an observant energy. This is calling on your inner observer to, rather than take action, right? Rather than running around and jumping into conclusions, making hard decisions without feeling ready to make them. This card calls on us to sit still and look around and feel inside. And even though it's a swords card, and even though I'm talking to Gemini, I think this is about calming down enough to stop the analytical mind from going back and forth and the pros and cons and all of that, and to hear our soul, right? To hear what we need to hear. So if you're starting off this month, Cancerian energy isn't always about just the doing. It's about the feeling. It's about the sense of something. And you're feeling a little bit like you want to just get in there, make everything happen, just make all your decisions. Take a breath at the beginning of the month and just give yourself the option to look around, get a lay of the land before moving on something if you're uncertain about it. If you're feeling torn about it or you don't know how to make a decision, rather than trying to think your way through it, feel your way through it. And what is interesting to me is that gets right to the Ace of Swords, the panda. I love this panda. Look at him, just enjoying his bamboo. The Ace of Swords is about mental clarity. It's about kind of cutting through the cobwebs of the mind, cutting through the fog, the mist, the unknown into clarity. And so what I'm seeing there is, rather than putting a lot of pressure on yourself to have it all sorted at the beginning of this month and like thinking through it and making the logical plans, making the 10 different lists, take all that pressure off. Observe yourself, observe, just like hear, just listen in, and you're going to get clarity so much easier than when you put the pressure on first and then struggle, and then get your answer. So there's something about you getting clarity, getting answers. So if you've been a bit torn on something, if you've been a bit uncertain about something, this month can really bring about deep clarity, but it has to come from that place of deep self-trust. And actually that speaks to this Hermit card too. What I'm seeing is it's not, people see the Hermit card as a card of sitting at home and not moving and not doing anything. And I've never interpreted it that way. In fact, I think what would be fun is to read the message from the Hermit in this book, because it's beautiful and the messaging is just gorgeous. So I think we will do that. But the Hermit to me is about our deep inner wisdom. The Hermit is about the wisdom that's like deeper and older and more ancient and more wise and wiser and clearer than all of our busyness. And it has this lantern that can show us the way if only we will just take some of the frenetic pressure off of ourselves. And in this case, we have the praying mantis. And let's see what the message that is in this book comes with it. Have you ever noticed that things look different in the morning? With just a small period of separation from you and your need for a solution, new options now present themselves. Sometimes waiting is the best way. Sometimes removing yourself, if only for a short period of time, is the best way. Then we turn and head to the light and step into its brilliance with confidence and resolve, just as we wake each morning from our darkened slumber to the glowing embrace of the sun. Oh, I love that message. And it goes with what I was just saying, so that's really cool. It's taking that moment to pause and hear. And we so often think if I take a moment to step back and think and listen and pay attention, that I'm going to be missing out, that I'm going to miss the opportunity, that I'm going to miss the call, that I'm not going to be doing enough, that I'm going to feel lazy, that I'll never do anything again. All those thoughts like to surge up. But what really happens is we save ourselves a ton of time, because if we just take, let's just say you decide you're going to take Saturday afternoon, right? You've been really busy. You have all these thoughts in your head. You don't know what's really next. You've been feeling a little muddled, and you decide you're just going to take Saturday afternoon. You're not going to try and text people. You're not going to, make yourself think about the thing. You're going to take all that pressure off. You're just going to take some deep breaths, do something that is restorative for you. Hear your soul speak. You're going to find answers so much faster and easier, and things are going to move so much easier. And here's the deal, you guys. You got the world at the end of your reading, and this is an atoll. I think that's how you say that word. These really, really specific little microcosms. Like they're biologically, they're like their own little ecosystem that has to have all these perfect ingredients to create this living little world in the ocean. And it's when things come together, right? In this deck, when you get the world, this is about when things, all the ingredients are coalescing. They're all joining forces. They're kind of aggregating, a little bit from here, a little bit from there. They're all kind of on their way. They're on these roads walking towards you, and they're coming together to meet, to create this perfect ecosystem for you moving forward. When I think about Gemini right now, we have another solid 6 months of North Node in your sign. And, I often find the culmination of the North Node in your sign is really where you start to see how you've grown and amassed wisdom and amassed understanding of yourself. And then you can take that wisdom and move forward with it. It's almost like the closeout of that North Node for you is where you're really going to start to see the culminating factors. I think you'll also see in July, like I've been saying, this is a time of healing and restoration of our joy and our creativity. And the World card speaks to me of you kind of getting back in sync with where you're going, where you're heading, how you're envisioning that. And all of this for me, when I think about the energy, starts with that place of self-love, of acknowledging your preferences, of acknowledging your dreams, of acknowledging what it is you're truly longing for, and letting yourself hear that fully, so that you can welcome in that world energy and that hermit energy and that wisdom and that joy that wants to come with you. And it's, the mind is not going to be the place where you're going to get, analyzing it is not going to be where you're going to get your information this month. It's going to be in the feeling every time. So if you catch yourself trying to analyze your way into perfect answers for what's next, or whatever situation is arising in your life, take a moment, say, okay, I'm trying to analyze my way through this. Just for an experiment, just have fun with this experiment. Instead of trying to analyze your way through, take a breath and feel through your body. Take a breath and listen and just wait for an answer. Take a breath, sit down with a journal and ask, hey, source, spirit, God, love, whatever you want to ask, what do I need to know right now? And wait for the answer to come through. This is going to be a great strategy for July. You're going to get so much out of it. So I really hope that you play with Cancerian energy, let your heart shine, let your spirit shine. There's really supportive energy here. Even if you're feeling a bit muddled at the beginning of the month, just know that there's a lot of positive energy and clarity, big clarity coming for you this July. I love you guys so much. I'm going to be doing so many fun things on my Patreon in July. I'm hoping to have a special guest over there, if I can get everything lined up. And I'm also going to be doing so many activations and fun things over there. You can also find me on my Instagram and my website. Love to see you there. And you can find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry, as always, on her Etsy shop. So I'll leave all my links below. And I love you guys so much. I will see you in August for more of this Leo fun times ahead. And I'm sending you my love.